Hello and welcome. Thank you for pressing play and choosing to spend a portion of your day with me. This is Joy, Pink Girl Teaches, and I want to give a special welcome to all the new subscribers. You could be anywhere, but you chose to be here, and I thank you so much for that. And to all the family members that are coming back, hey guys, it's great to be here with you today. So, today I'm talking about narcissism and childhood trauma. And, I've wanted to do this video for some time because I can relate to this completely. This is my story for the most part. And when I'm talking about childhood trauma, I'm really talking about childhood sexual assault. And I will mention some of the long-term effects and how narcissism plays a part, especially like as it pertains to my story. I know my story is not unique. I have seen several comments asking for, this type of video, as well as just asking for general, guidance in this area. For many people that are victims of childhood sexual assault, this abuse is inflicted by parents. If you are like me, it was a family member, and for other people, it'll be a family friend. For the most part, it's somebody that we know. They say 1 in 3 girls are sexually assaulted before age 18, and 1 in 6 boys are sexually assaulted before the age 18. I was 4 years old. For any victim who has been violated, I want you to understand this, and it was hard for me to grasp this, but it's not your fault. It's the narcissist's limitation. This type of parent, if this is your case, cannot love you unconditionally or even express empathy that is sincere. And this is difficult and very painful for children to process. And even so, when we become adults, it still can be very difficult to process. But I need you to understand that this is the narcissist's limitation. It is not a reflection on you. Even with therapy, I still blamed myself for so long about what happened to me, and I carried so much shame and guilt. I felt guilty and mad at myself that this happened, and I would ask myself, like, what was I doing that caused him to do this to me? Like, was it the way that I was walking? Was it the way that I was talking? Did I look a certain way? Because I needed it to make sense so that I could process that. I'm the type of person that as long as I get the opportunity to process a situation, I'll be okay. But I just couldn't process this. Like, I needed to know, what did I do that contributed to this? And this is so common for children because they internalize everything. So for example, if parents are getting divorced, then the child processes this like, okay, it's my fault. I didn't do my homework, or I'm a bad kid. They just internalize it. And so many victims of childhood sexual assault do this. And I just was mad at myself for so many years. I hated myself. And for the family dynamic where it's actually a parent doing this, you may find that one child becomes a golden child, and that's the child that the parent may idealize and actually inflict this sexual assault on the child. And that child feels guilty for the extra attention. They feel guilty that they still love this parent who is their, this person that's their parent. And you feel guilty for keeping the secret and blame yourself. Other times it could be the scapegoat that gets this kind of abuse inflicted on them. What I'm recognizing now is as I'm more aware, this was a family member for me, and I was their golden child. And so, like, when they would come around me, my siblings, my cousins, I was always the one that was put on the pedestal. But behind closed doors, this is what's happening. And so, a lot of the times, you just try to make it make sense. And, one thing that he used to always tell me, like in the act, would be like, oh, this is how people show that they love each other. And so right there, that was like planting a seed that just led me down the wrong path, because now I was like processing, like, oh, okay, so this is what love is supposed to be. Like when you take a child and you give in there in the hands of a master manipulator like a narcissist, they are going to do so much damage that has long-term consequences. And so, it tarnished my view on what love is. And I would ask myself, like, as a child, like, as a very young child, I'm like, okay, so he does this to me, but dad doesn't do this to me. So what? So daddy doesn't love me? Like, and it was those kind of questions. Like, I would just go back and forth in my child mind trying to make it sense. And, I would just feel like, okay, because nobody else loves me, so they're not doing this, because they're not doing this to me. And so I would just kind of like believe that I was the bad child that he would tell me that I was, and that I deserved this. And mind you, this is like typical when you have when you have these dynamics with a narcissist. They'll put you on the pedestal but still devalue you behind closed doors. When the narcissist is a sex offender, listen, they are the ultimate narcissist. Their needs are superior over any other person, especially a voiceless child. This narcissist sees the child as an object for their satisfaction and gratification. This selfish subhuman, because that's what they are, this selfish subhuman believes that their needs are more important, and they have absolutely no consideration for the child, for this developing child, mind you, for their self-esteem, self-awareness, healthy sexuality, lifelong struggles, sorry. But it doesn't matter to the narcissist. They are selfish, and everything has to be about them. They don't care what kind of consequences this child will face, simply because they want a couple minutes of pleasure. It's traumatizing. They simply don't care. And this is, I had to think about this, like, why would they do this? And the conclusion that I came to is simply because they are pure evil, and it's what is behind them. It's the force that drives them, and that's that Jezebel spirit. In the Old Testament, Jezebel killed prophets, right? And that's some type of arrogance, that you would kill God's prophets, that you would kill God's people. But I say this to say that when I encountered the narcissist and I was violated as a child, I lived my life backwards. I always try to go back to the day before it happened. And we know that that's not possible. But again, I was 4. I was just trying to cope as best as I could. And it's like, the child's development is arrested at that point, because that's where pain met me. And that's where pain met me. But I want to tell you something. And if this is your story, I need you to grasp this. Yes, that's where pain met me. But in that same place is where destiny found me. It was like my pain and my destiny collided. And I want you to say that for yourself, that this is where pain and destiny collided for me. Because hear me when I say this. Jezebel, that spirit Jezebel, is at enmity with God, and it was out to destroy me. That spirit was out to destroy you. And so I believe this is why we encounter these narcissists, is simply to bring destruction into your life. You can't, I guess, like, even if we're adults and we encounter a narcissist as an intimate partner, it's different. We don't seek them out as children. Like, we are defenseless, and they manipulate our minds. They make sure that we can't speak to anybody and speak out about what's happening, and they have total control and dominion over us. That is exactly what Jezebel wants. Jezebel is there to erase your identity, because I grew up confused. I didn't know who I was, because I always wanted to be the girl before the day that all of this happened. And so I always wanted to go back to that point. Always, always. That was like my goal. But how do you go backwards? You don't. You have to go through it. You have to go forward. And that was a long lesson for me. Why the spirit wants to conquer you is because you have purpose. And that is it. That is simply the truth. You have purpose. Your life has meaning. And I want you to consider that if you're a target when you are a defenseless child, there's something great attached to your name. And so you have to fight. You have to push through. You have to do what you have to do to get the help so that you can overcome. And so, really, essentially, the spirit that is at work within the narcissist is very murderous. I suffered with severe depression throughout my childhood, and there are some points in my adult life where it was pretty bad. But there came the day, and I was absolutely paralyzed with pain, and I just wanted it to end, and I did not care at all. Like, I just needed this pain to stop. I wanted to feel like, just turn the lights off. And so I was 15, and I took an overdose. And I remember, like, right after I took all the pills, like all of them, like I should be dead. I took all those pills, looked in the mirror, and smiled. And the thought, it's as clear as day, because I remember saying to myself, wow, I've never seen you smile like this before. But I really did have my best smile in that moment, because what I was thinking was, this is about to be over. I won't have to deal with this anymore. It's going to be all in the past, and I'll wake up wherever I wake up, and I don't believe that hell could be as bad as my life has been. And that was my thought. And I went to bed, and I went to bed happy. Like, I went to bed really happy, like it's about to be over and I'm going to be at peace. But the next thing I know is I'm waking up in the hospital. My mother is over me crying and begging me to talk, and I can't even say anything. I wanted so bad to just open my mouth and say, like, okay, this is what's really bothering me, but I didn't know how to. It was like my voice was taken. I did not know how to do that. And it was even in that moment when she just looked at me, and I could see the pain in her eyes and just the desperation. But all I could think to myself was, wow, you failed at this. Like, you were no good. Like, there is no hope for you. I just felt like a complete failure, because I couldn't even do suicide right. But here I am. When it comes to culture and society, and the perpetuation of rape culture, it makes it very difficult for people to speak up. This narcissist didn't care about the child. The narcissist needs are always going to be primary, and they meet their sexual needs at the expense of the child. They manipulate and they control the child, or the manipulation and the control of the child, starts long before the assault actually takes place. So the child has been groomed over time to just be a victim, to just get in line so the narcissist can have their way. And guys, this is female and males, because some mothers, some aunts, some sisters, some cousins, they do this. And I know some people are gonna say that hurt people hurt people. That's true. I was hurt, but trust you me, I wouldn't do this to a child. The narcissist makes the choice to be who they are. This is a choice that they make. You never ever in the history of narcissists will find the sexual predator, the psychotic narcissist, actually like violate a child right next to a police officer. You never see them just willingly say, yeah, you know what, I'm about to go and do it to my little niece or whatever. They don't do that, because they know it's wrong. It's a choice. They make this choice over and over again. Just like you choose to get up, walk, breathe, shower, all of that. That is how they make their choices. It is their choice. And so, this, it's crazy. Like I say, like, the manipulation, the control, it takes place way before the assault ever starts. And there's a fake display of attention, and that just makes the affection that they give you, or that they give the child, so disingenuous, and the child is totally clueless. We don't know, what they're up to. And so as sexually assaulted children, we grow up ashamed, confused, self-loathing. We blame ourselves, and we believe that we are ultimately responsible for the narcissist. But it's their core lack of empathy. They don't care. They don't care how it affects us. They don't care. The psychotic narcissist enjoys the pain that they inflict. They're not at all remorseful, only when they're caught. And that's just because they were caught. It's their, sense of entitlement that's so paramount that they blame the victims. And again, nothing is the narcissist's fault. You find like a lot of medical professionals, which I am not, they say that sexual offenders are difficult to treat, and that full-blown narcissists are treatment failures. So, for those of you that always want to know, can the narc change? Can the narc change? Like, it's a decision that they choose not to make. Or again, even in that, it's a decision that they choose to just remain who they are. And like I said, I've seen several comments about this. And so I really did want to do this video and just shed some type of light into it. But it's not always the easiest thing to talk about. But I came here to use my voice today to reach young girls, or the young girl, the young boy that is inside of you, who can relate to what I'm going through or what I went through and how I feel. And you feel like you have to continue to wear that coat of shame. You don't. There is healing for you. And here's the thing, your healing is so important because there's somebody else out there who needs to hear from you. Now, you don't have to come on YouTube and create a channel. You could possibly make a blog. You could possibly have a podcast. You could reach somebody at work. You can, yeah, I mean, like 1 in 3 girls, 1 in 6 boys are sexually assaulted before the age 18. Think of 5 of your friends. There's somebody in that number who has been touched by this. So, sometimes it actually, it turns out that, in my instance, I grew up as a codependent, people pleasing for acceptance. I focused on others' needs more than myself. My self-esteem was wrapped up helping others. I excessively worried about others and their opinions about me. I was overly responsible for other people, lack of boundaries, didn't know how to set them, didn't know how to respect them. And I had difficulty identifying my own needs. I thought it was my job to save others. And I always felt anxious about hurting others. And, I also would, my mistakes would be a trigger to me, and it would remind me that I was no good, that I was worthless, that I was valueless simply because I made a mistake. And one thing about being a codependent is you do attract narcissists. You attract people with problems, and this is simply because of the frequency that you're vibrating at. Like, the narcissist is a very low vibrating creature. And here I come, also vibrating at a very low frequency, and so we attract one another. I'm looking to be fixed, the narcissist is looking to be used, and boom, you know what happens next. And yeah, that is some of what I experienced. But on the other side of that, there is healing, there is restoration. You don't have to remain a victim. I did go through therapy. It took me a while to find a therapist that would actually work with me. I remember one of the very first therapists that I spoke to, her first question to me was, what did you think you did that made them do this to you? And I'm thinking to myself, like, gee, I've spent my entire life blaming myself for this, and she's confirming it because she's asking, what do I believe that I did that deserved this? Like, first of all, I was 4. I didn't deserve this. And I need you, if this is you, to tell yourself, I did not deserve this. You didn't deserve this at all. And you need to forgive yourself for believing that you did. You need to forgive yourself for accepting the false identity that the narcissist, like, listen, the narcissist is so beneath you. He is beneath, or she is beneath your feet. I know it can be hard to accept that and to actually receive it, but that's just the truth. The narcissist is beneath you. And get your healing wherever you're going to get it from, from church, from counseling, therapy, from helping yourself. Another thing that is really good to help yourself is to begin to reparent yourself. Reparent yourself. I'll attach a video that I did on reparenting your inner child. And I did this several times, over and over again. In addition to therapy, in addition to prayer, in addition to, just reading and doing a lot of research so that I could be healed. And now, listen, I'm okay. I'm fine. And I'm at peace with everything that happened. And, the funny thing is I know I can't change what happened, but even if I could, I don't know if I would. And that's not to say that I would want this to happen again, but it's because of who I found. I found a woman who is strong. I found a woman who is an overcomer. I found a woman who won't tolerate this foolishness anymore. I had to fight depression. I had to fight unbelief. I had to fight fight just to stay alive. And now that I'm here, I get it. This is purpose, this is my job, this is my call, this is my assignment. And I need you to come out, because there is somebody that is waiting on you. There is somebody who needs to hear your voice. There is somebody that is assigned to you. And I need you to come up out of the funk. I need you to come up out of the despair and know that you don't deserve this. If you keep on interacting with narcissists or keep on attracting them, it's a sign that, let's fix what's not working. Let's fix what's not working. If you're somebody who has cycles with narcissists, over time, you keep attracting narcissists, then you're going to ask yourself the very thing that I asked myself is, what is the common denominator here? I mean, they all changed, but I remained in that, I remained the in the situation. So I was the common denominator, and that was a indicator that I had work to do. And don't hesitate. Reach out to me. Reach out to like I said, a therapist, counselor, psychiatrist, whoever you need to. But I need you to show up for yourself. I need you to know that you are much stronger than any narcissist. And when you do arise in the fullness of who you are, you move from the place of codependency till you can become an empath. You can become a super empath. You can become a supernova. Like, you are fearful to the narcissist. They can't stand your light, and that's why they try to attack you while you are still a child. Like, if this resonates with any part of you, let me know. Comment, like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you in the comments. Have a great day.